Half-Life was a resounding success, and like any successful PC game at the time, it received expansions. The first one was Half-Life Opposing Force, developed by Gearbox Software and released to great critical and commercial success in 1999. In Opposing Force, you play as Adrian Shepard, a US Army corporal sent to clean up Black Mesa. The events in this game run parallel to those in Half-Life, and characters like the G-Man and Gordon Freeman even make appearances along the way. Here you learn that the soldiers operated on a need-to-know basis and were themselves the target of Black Ops and the alien invaders. You'll even get the opportunity to radio your fellow soldiers infrequently and get a bit of background on how the operation went. Spoiler alert, shit hit the fan. Now, the original wasn't that narratively complex, and neither is Opposing Force, but the story here is downright simplistic even when compared to the original. To top it off, the ending isn't particularly satisfying, and while you can't fault Gearbox too much given that the original story was comprehensive and conclusive, it's still not a particularly great story. Thankfully, Half-Life's gameplay was always its strong point, and the quality of the level design is mostly on par with Valve's masterpiece. Here we have a linear succession of combat and puzzle solving with a bit of team tactics mixed in. Opposing Force gives you the opportunity to recruit teammates along the way, and the good news is that they're genuinely helpful. They're good at using their guns, and the medic in particular is helpful in a pinch as he carries around 150 health points worth of healing. Unfortunately, this aspect feels underdeveloped as there are rarely any opportunities for you to carry them on beyond one level at best, and since they can't jump or crouch, and given that levels demand just as much environmental navigation as in the original, this means they're only able to accompany you for one, maybe two levels. And that is when they aren't dying on you, since 90% of the enemies are either Black Ops or superpowered aliens that can even take them out in one hit. And in case you think you're much more resilient than they are, trust me, you are not. The Black Ops can take you out within seconds if you aren't paying close attention, and the new aliens introduced here are going to absolutely murder you. Remember how I previously mentioned that the level design is mostly as good? Well, I said mostly for a good reason. Opposing Force is much stingier with health and armor pickups, and when combined with the more powerful enemies, it makes for a really hard game. A lot of the time you'll complete an encounter with 50 health or less, and will be unable to complete the following one since there are, at best, 1 or 2 health and armor pickups waiting for you after an encounter. It's not impossible or anything, but it is much harder than the original. Easy mode isn't quite as bad, but even then you can still expect having to quick save every minute. But this is still Half-Life at its core. It's still a great alternation of puzzles and combat. The AI is still genuinely smart. Keeping allies alive and taking them to a locked door still offers rewards if you're willing to keep them alive for a minute. Even better, there are new weapons to wield, like the absolutely brutal machine gun, the sniper rifle, and the barnacle for close encounters or platforming. The coolest addition, however, is the wrench. Why? Because the alternate attack on it can flat out gib some enemies instantly. Some of the new weapons are either reskins or somewhat gimmicky, but you're still given new toys to play with. The expansion also features improved character models and new music, which is all the easier to appreciate as some expansions would just typically reuse the old assets. Despite its unforgiving difficulty and basic story, Opposing Force is still something of a rarity. It's an essential expansion. The new weapons and enemies make for engaging encounters, and while some new features are underdeveloped, this is still a great time. Move out, soldier.